Hi there. Welcome to another edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm Adrian Atkinson. We visit up our camp for a little bit of history. But before that, we go down a town to explore the recently renovated Court of Appeal. Buildings of interest in law and security take over today's center spread. Stay with us.
Play some music, just reggae music. Root rock reggae, just reggae music.
Good day, I'm Lorraine Mendez, and this is your JIS News for Tuesday, February 19. Minister of Science, Energy and Technology Favour Williams is awaiting a full briefing on speculations of bad gas being in circulation. Minister Williams summoned Petrojam's technical team to a meeting on Sunday to discuss media reports of fuel concerns at the state-owned oil refinery. In a release, the ministry says review meetings are being carried out by all entities that interact with the industry and have responsibility to ensure the integrity of the product. These reports are to be submitted to the respective ministers and copied to Minister Williams. The release further insists that the Science, Energy and Technology Ministry is taking the necessary steps and will update the country of any and all findings as soon as they become available. Bad gas was first reported in 2015, and a Petroleum Trade Reform Committee was established to investigate those reports. The Consumer Affairs Commission, part of the committee, calculated $60 million in compensation. Government has allocated over $20 billion to boost mobility and improve technology and infrastructure within the security forces. The funds are outlined in the 2019-2020 estimates of expenditure. Among the breakdown is $3.7 billion to purchase aircraft for the Jamaica Defence Force, the JDF. $1.98 billion is also budgeted to buy vehicles for the JDF, Jamaica Constabulary Force, and the Department of Correctional Services. Another $4 billion is earmarked to construct and improve police stations, barracks, and buildings at the JDF. Telecommunication equipment will also be bought and cybersecurity initiatives implemented to improve operations of both the JDF and JCF. Still on the budget, $28 million will be spent to build 2 drop-in centers, one each in St. Thomas and Trelawney. The drop-in centers are to be constructed within the 2019-20 fiscal year under the Assistance to Homeless Street People project. They'll be used to assess, feed, treat, counsel, and otherwise care for homeless persons. To date, 4 drop-in centers have been constructed across the country. The project has been extended from March 2019 to March 2021 to provide additional facilities in all parishes. The Ministry of Education is assuring the public that adequate post-assessment procedures are in place for the Primary Exit Profile PEP. This comes ahead of the sitting for the first component, the ability test, on February 26.
The process that we currently use will remain the same as it relates to exam generally. So we are now in examination mode, so we will activate our hotlines across the island, our regional offices, plus Students Assessment Unit, the Office of the Deputy Chief Education Officers and the Chief Education Officer. We make ourselves available to provide support as would be required and to respond to queries.
The Acting Permanent Secretary was giving an update at a recent JIS think tank. She said parents would be able to utilize the Access to Information Unit to submit their appeals, which would be vetted and handled accordingly. Following next Tuesday's sitting of the ability test, students will do the performance task in language arts on March 27, followed by mathematics on March 28. The curriculum-based test will be done on April 16 and 17. The Western Hospitality Institute in Negril has received $10 million in grant funding for renovation and expansion works. The support is being provided by the Government of Japan under its Grant Assistance for Grassroots Human Security Project. At the signing and check handover on Wednesday, Education Minister Senator Ruel Reid said the improvement would allow the facility to offer more skills training opportunities for young people.
We are world-class because we have had dedicated institutions such as Western Hospitality that continues to train and certify specialist persons designed specifically for the hospitality industry. That is largely what has made Jamaica world-class in terms of our tourism industry.
Japanese Ambassador Hiromasa Yamazaki also commended the Western Hospitality Institute for its contribution to youth development.
The Institute has been proactively engaged in activities to promote education as well as technical and vocational skills training for those who could not attend or had to quit school at various levels due to different reasons. It is truly playing a very important role for Jamaica's citizens.
And finally, the Ministry of Health has implemented a no-user fee policy for children 12 years and under at the University Hospital of the West Indies. It takes effect immediately. The ministry says free access to healthcare for children at UHWI is among a slate of measures being implemented to alleviate the overcrowding at hospitals. This is also to address a growing number of visits to accident and emergency units at public hospitals for suspected dengue, gastroenteritis, and flu-like or upper respiratory illness. Members of the public are being reminded that a number of select health centers across the island have extended opening hours to as late as 9 p.m. For more information on opening hours and access to healthcare at a facility nearest you, call 888-663-5683. And that's it for JIS News today. I'm Lorraine Mendez. Thanks for watching.
If you no want pop down and fenke, you fi burn mosquito and run with dengue. So no make water cycle in open container. For them me read up under the danger. Usher them out, run them away. Slap them with the zapper and down them with spray. Use mosquito net and mosquito screen. Protect your household, now make them come in. If you no want pop down and fenke, we fi burn mosquito and run with dengue. If pain lick your head and your joints and your eye, and you want fever vomit and your temperature high, it could be dengue, don't hesitate. See a doctor, don't self-medicate. For some painkiller can make you bleed and you will try to recover and no succeed. We no want pop down and fenke. We fi burn mosquito and run with dengue.
A message from the Ministry of Health.
Coming up, happenings within the office of the Prime Minister over the past week.
Prime Minister names new energy minister, tables bill to retake Venezuela's shares in Petrojam, and welcomes the opening of the 2019-20 parliamentary year. You're watching Jamaica House Weekly. I'm Lorraine Mendez. Prime Minister Andrew Holness made some administrative changes on Wednesday, which took effect on February 14. He promoted Minister without portfolio in the Finance Ministry Favour Williams to Minister of Science, Energy and Technology. Prime Minister Holness had oversight of the ministry since last July. He also reassigned two of the government's junior ministers. State Minister Floyd Green is now at the Ministry of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries, having moved from the education portfolio. Alando Tarilong, who served at the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport, is now the State Minister of Education, Youth and Information. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Andrew Holness also reassigned some permanent secretaries. Carol Palmer has moved from Justice to the Ministry of Science, Energy and Technology. She changes places with Cynthia Bennett-Templer, who was at the Office of the Prime Minister. Permanent Secretary for the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Audrey Sewell, will oversee operations at the Office of the Prime Minister. On Thursday, the Prime Minister was back in Parliament for the opening session of the new legislative year. He used the opportunity to introduce the bill for the compulsory acquisition of Venezuela's 49% shares in Petrojam. Also in Parliament Thursday, the government's $803 billion budget for the upcoming financial year was tabled. $731 billion is allocated for recurrent or housekeeping expenses, while $72 billion will fund capital development projects. The Ministries of Finance, Education, National Security, Health, Economic Growth and the Office of the Prime Minister received the lion's share of the budget.
It is our hope that we will, as Jamaicans first, seek to advance the agenda of Jamaica for Jamaicans in our Parliament.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness as he feted parliamentarians at a luncheon following Thursday's ceremonial opening. He expressed optimism for the new parliamentary year with some ambitious legislative targets set.
But even if we were to achieve 60% of what we set, Jamaica would be far better for it. It is not our intention always to be using the majority. Because as acknowledged by our foreign investors, democracy is not the rule solely of the majority. It is the spirit of cooperation of the people to use consensus more often than not to come to a decision.
Before that, at Jamaica House Tuesday, the Prime Minister hosted his annual media party dubbed Taste of Jamaica. On Monday, the walk bridge linking Kingston to Port Royal arrived on the island. It was offloaded and secured by the Port Authority of Jamaica the following day. And on Wednesday, the Prime Minister met with High Commissioner Designate of Jamaica to Nigeria, Esmond Reid. He used the opportunity to wish Mr. Reid success in his new capacity. And that's how we close Jamaica House Weekly. Be sure to join us next time for more of the news coming out of the office of the Prime Minister. Want to know the law pertaining to renting a house? What about the procedure if you're arrested? Or what is defined as corruption? Then click on the Ministry of Justice website. It has information on every law passed in Jamaica. The House of Parliament portal also has the more recent year's pieces of legislation. The sites are easy to search and the files are downloadable. Make access to justice your business. Know your rights.
The Court of Appeal is one of the legacies of an independent Jamaica. This High Court is situated in the heart of downtown Kingston. But how much do you know about this important arm of the nation's judiciary? Watch and find out.
Where there is no justice, the people perish.
On any given day, courts throughout the country render the decisions that impact the lives of many people. Our nation entrusts the courts as the final interpreter of the law. The Jamaican legal system is shaped by judicial chambers, such as the Traffic Court, Gun Court, Family Court, Revenue Court, Petty Sessions, the Resident Magistrates Court, the Supreme Court of Jamaica, and the Court of Appeal. Added to the efforts of those seated in these courthouses, the built environment largely impacts the pace of the wheels of justice.
There is too a strong recognition and appreciation that the wheels of justice turn slowly, but I might dare say it grind exceedingly fine. For indeed, dispensing justice is as much a function of the quality and integrity of our learned luminaries of law, and to that we as a nation are not only well endowed and boast a rich legacy of which we can be proud.
Part of that justice legacy is the newly renovated Court of Appeal building, located deep inside the bustle of our capital city, Kingston.
It is my pleasure to welcome you to the symbolic opening of Phase 1 of the expanded Court of Appeal building.
Today marks a significant chapter in the ongoing quest of the Ministry of Justice to upgrade and develop the country's court facilities. Our goal is for courtrooms to be beacons of hope and centers of excellence. Our mission is for our courts to deliver quality service and timely justice to our people.
I want to say how very happy I am with the expansion and relocation of the Court of Appeal. It is a milestone achievement which has significant implications for the people of Jamaica in terms of access to justice.
The $846 million Jamaican dollar structure was made possible through funding support from the European Union. It is outfitted with 3 new courtrooms, 14 judges' chambers, 2 lounges, an expanded registry, and other upgraded facilities.
I stand proud on behalf of the European Union and its 28 member states and share with you this great achievement in Jamaica's history. We are encouraged by these positive achievements, and based on the current rate of progress in implementation of indicators, it is highly likely that the sector will achieve progress.
The expansion was carried out by YP Seaton Contractors, whose detailed architectural plan will provide the nation with a much smoother course of justice.
And I want to congratulate YP Seaton, the architects, because they work 24/7, and most times during the day they could not work because the Court of Appeal was sitting. And so over 70% of the work that they did was actually done after 4 o'clock, right into the night. And believe me, what you will see, ladies and gentlemen, is what I consider to be first-class facilities.
But what does having a First World Court of Appeal mean for the people of Jamaica? And what of the hopes of those dispensing justice in our nation? The Court of Appeal is the highest appellate court in Jamaica, where persons who are dissatisfied with a decision of one of the other courts, except petty sessions, can appeal to. It is the hope of the Ministry of Justice that this renovation will greatly improve the case flow within the court.
And so, with the provision of this outstanding court, this outstanding edifice, the beginning of things to come, we will meet our goal of becoming the best in the Caribbean, one of the best in the world. And when we accomplish this, we will make Jamaica the place to live, work, do business, raise families, and the 5th one, retire in peace.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jamaica can be a peaceful place. It must be a peaceful place, and the justice sector will play a pivotal role in ensuring not only peace and justice, but prosperity for all of our people.
The following is brought to you by MOCA, the major organized crime and anti-corruption agency, with kind support of NIA and USAID.
Criminal minds think they are cunning. The major organized crime and anti-corruption agency have them running. Your friend a shout, come scam. Take time running, are we ready for the ops? Drive up on your block, step out now me black cyber take a boy your laptop. Pull up every lock, no evidence a drop. We put it in a cuffs and now we have the under lock. Sin you say scam, you better look out for. When you move corrupt, better look out for. Please say you get wet, look out for. Look out for, look out for. From you say scam, you better look out for. When you move corrupt, better look out for. Please say you get wet, look out for. Look out for, look out for.
The proceeding was brought to you by MOCA, the major organized crime and anti-corruption agency, with the kind support of NIA and USAID.
The Jamaica Defense Forces Military Museum and Library holds much of the nation's history. Stories of fallen soldiers and the importance of this institution are told throughout the space. Next, we dig into the sacred confines of this noble centerpiece.
Military presence in Monigue would have started from as far back as military in Jamaica. Monigue was a strategic location between Kingston, Spanish Town, and Ocho Rios, so it ended up being a stopover location for many of the troops as they were patrolling the area. During the Maroon Wars of the 18th century, Monigue was one of the 11 barracks that were established for the troops to stop over as they were encountering a lot of diseases and deaths due to the long patrol that they had to do on the interior of the island while they were facing the Maroons in guerrilla-type warfare, which was very foreign and new to them. So the uniforms they were wearing was not suited for the tropical climate, so it was very hard for them traveling, if you can imagine, from Kingston into Trelawney area. So they established barracks for close monitoring of the Maroon towns, and Monigue was one of those that was established. By the 19th century, the Monique Hotel was established in preparation for the Great Exhibition of 1891 in Kingston, and that hotel actually housed several of the troops straight up to the 1940s, when it changed ownership and again used as a formal hotel. In the 1940s, it was used during the World War II period by foreign regiments, some of which you can see along the wall of badges at Newcastle: the Winnipeg Grenadiers, the Argyll and Sutherland Highlanders, and the Brockville Rifles. Many of these regiments would have moved between Monique and Kingston, where in Monique they did training exercises.
Monique continued to be a training ground for troops throughout the centuries. The Jamaica Defense Force came into being in 1962, and the Monique Training Camp became the home of the 2nd Jamaica Regiment in 1979. And since 2009, it has been the JDF's Combat Support Battalion base.
The Jamaica Military Museum and Library is open to the general public, and we look forward to sharing our history with you.
Catch up on your history at the museum's Up Park Camp Kingston location, Wednesdays through Thursdays, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
I'm deeply concerned by the number of Jamaicans killed on our roads. Safety on our roads is our responsibility. Jamaicans, drivers, passengers, motorcyclists, and pedestrians, slow down. Observe the rules of the road. Be courteous. Drive defensively. Be considerate. Buckle up. Wear a helmet. The careless overtaker is only rushing to the undertaker. Not observing the rules of the road could cost you your life and that of your loved ones. I encourage all road users to take special care as we use public thoroughfares. The life you save may be your own. Remember, your family wants you to arrive alive.
Jamaica Day 2019 is just around the corner, and the plan is to achieve greater inclusion and participation this year.
You will recall last year, I indicated at the launch of Jamaica Day that the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information's intention is to get every ministry involved in Jamaica Day. Well, it is a promise kept. This year, all ministries are required to decorate their buildings or main building using the Jamaican colors in what we are calling a Best Decorated Building Competition. We're asking that these buildings be donned or draped in the colors as early as the first week of February. A team from the Jamaica Day Planning Committee will be visiting these buildings during the week of February 11 to 15 to judge and take pictures.
But that's not all. There's one more bold move for this year's staging.
This year, we have moved away from staging the national celebration in the featured school or in a featured school. This year, the national event will be hosted, yes, at the National Arena. Schools will still host a sermon. However, each school will be required to send 10 students to the National Arena, accompanied by the school's culture agent and other members or another member of staff.
And now for the details you've been waiting to hear.
Friday, February 22, 2019 will be celebrated as Jamaica Day under the theme Celebrating Jamaica, Embracing Positive Values, Visioning Inclusive Education, and of course, for a better Jamaica.
And what exactly does all of this mean?
This year, we are expecting our students to use the arts, dance, drama, music, visual arts, and other art forms to promote concepts learned from the National Standards curriculum while they display other aspects of our culture.
We have been seeing over the years that there are many children out there who can perform in the arts, but people are streamlining them and are thinking that the only thing that we are interested in and the only thing that it is important to them and for them is for them to do the academic subjects.
We want our nation to focus on, one, demonstrating love and compassion, respect, truthfulness, self-discipline, peace, right conduct, productivity, among others.
The best gift we can give Jamaica is a well-educated population. Nothing can beat that. That is socially aware, that is spiritually aware. And that is how we eliminate the violence and create safe spaces to engage and productive citizens with positive values.
So come Friday, February 22, Jamaicans will have a host of engaging and uplifting activities to enjoy.
Apart from a civic ceremony, which will begin promptly at 8 a.m., the students and all other attendees will be given the opportunity to view rich cultural displays in the village which will be set up. Some schools and other organizations will be displaying their innovations in the areas of science, technology, engineering, the arts, and mathematics. Many other ministries and entities will have things on display which will be beneficial to everyone as part of the inclusive education for a better Jamaica.
The winner of the Best Decorated Building competition will also be announced on the day. And to culminate the celebrations is a grand concert with the tagline, "Put some pep in your step with love and respect."
The concert will feature some of our best school bands and other performers, including notable and popular artists from the music industry.
So for Jamaica Day 2019, all roads lead to the National Stadium.
Jamaica Day is everybody's business. Whether you are a Jamaican in Jamaica, a Jamaican living abroad, or just a visitor to Jamaica, Jamaica Day should be your business, especially on the 22nd of February.
As we close the show for another day, we thank you for staying with us. Please like, share and visit our webpage and social media platforms. And tomorrow, do join us again right here on this station for another edition of Jamaica Magazine. Until then, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.